What's good, Internet? It's your boy, Corey from the Hardwood Herald. We're here. Finally, we got Larry. NBA Finals have finally approached us. We have game one tonight. It's been a long journey through this bubble. A lot of stuff have happened. We've talked about the Bulls more than you probably ever thought that we could.
That's not true.
Oh, so I was good about this.
No, I think it's less than my expectations. I think it could have been more.
Great. So that seems like a win for you. All right.
Still no.
What's that?
Still no.
Still no. Before we get started, I guess we might as well talk about Doc Rivers. Doc out with the Clippers.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's Doc's fault, but the Clippers are another one of these situations, kind of like where the 76ers were, where they don't really have any other moves. So yeah, I mean, I get it in that regard that they want to do something. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a little different with the 76ers because that team, they've rebounded with the same team numerous times and it hasn't worked. This is the first time with the Clippers and in a weird bubble situation. So I feel like Doc should have gotten a pass, but Doc's going to be just fine. He'll find another gig. Or the rumors of him with the Clippers. If they want to, I mean, what are the Clip? I guess, I'm all about listening to certain problems. And if Doc is considered to be a problem, that's fine. But what's the solution? So it being the solution, who are the Clippers even looking at as a possible new head coach?
The Clippers, I guess, would be looking at Ty Lue.
I say that usually joking. I don't understand. I mean, again, nothing against Ty Lue. I just don't know what he's done. I mean, I get it. I guess I give LeBron more credit than Ty Lue on that team as the coach.
Well, I mean, I do as well. Whether David Blatt would have also won that championship or not.
Are you going to be like, wow, Frank Vogel is doing such a great job with these Lakers?
Probably not. I mean, it seems just like, oh, LeBron's better than everyone.
Right.
And they have Anthony Davis. So, yeah, I mean, that's always pretty much been the case with LeBron's coaches. I guess, looking back in hindsight, I think that this roster the Clippers roster is flawed. As much as Doc might be flawed, the Clippers roster was flawed.
Oh, for sure.
So to, think that like Doc's the problem, well, are they going to fix those blind spots that they have with the roster? Because if they don't, you're going to run into the same issue, I think, regardless of who's.
Well, I think that's part of the issue is they don't have much way to fix those blind spots. When you have minimal to no assets besides your stars, it's really hard to try to fix those blind spots. Like you're basically going to be hoping for veteran version of buyout guys or mid-level exception guys who want to sign there for cheap to try to chase a ring. That's basically what you're relying on in regards to, like an Iguodala type, something like that. That's kind of what you're banking on in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think that Rondo is a guy they should probably go after hard. Just they need somebody who's going to be able to step in, play some kind of leadership vocally, like on the court, and be a guy who could set other teammates up. They just need that setup guy. And if they're going for the scrap heap, it's going to be guys like that. And look,
who do you even pick though to be like, what coach are they looking at?
Well, that's it. I think Ty Lue is going to get big consideration. I mean, I don't know what other big coaches are there for the Clippers?
Jason Kidd.
Like if Jason Kidd and Ty Lue are your answers, I don't know if I like the question all that much.
Mark Jackson.
I'm sure he'll be brought up in the media. I think I read Jeff Van Gundy as a guy, your classic Van Gundy rumor, which seems to
it's every coaching vacancy. I mean, obviously as a Knicks fan, I love Van Gundy and I wish he would come back and coach somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not like he's been out of coaching either. He's been out of coaching in the NBA, but he's doing stuff constantly with Team USA. So
but he's also in touch. Like, him commentating the game. It's not like he doesn't have a clue. This isn't like Rick Moranis showing up today and be like, oh, I'm here to act again. No, it's, he's been around the game the entire time.
I don't know. I feel like Rick Moranis is still going to have it.
Oh, I'm not concerned.
All right. So that's enough about the Clippers and Doc Rivers. We have a new set today.
Are you if the Bulls didn't hire Bully Donovan, would you want Doc Rivers?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, Doc Rivers, he's going to be fine. He's probably better off taking a year off and seeing what happens next year. But at the end of the day, this might be a blessing in disguise if this Clippers thing doesn't work out, because then they have no assets and no stars.
Yeah. I mean, it could be bleak. It could be bleak next year. Paul George this year said that this is not a championship or bust season, but next year is.
Oh, for sure.
Next year is. All right, on to the NBA Finals. The reason that we've been doing these shows almost daily. I think one of the biggest questions right now, LeBron is playing out of his mind. So one of the biggest questions is, how on earth does the Miami Heat stop this guy or make his life hard?
Well, that isn't one of my biggest questions. My biggest question is, why do we have Jimmy Butler on this thing and not Tyler Herro? That's my confusion. If you're going star to star, why are we showing Jimmy and not Tyler? And especially, why are we not Vice City colors? I think in regards to, you're not stopping LeBron. I mean, that's never going to happen. But if you got to make LeBron work. That's basically that's how you got to do it. You got to make LeBron play defense. You got to make him work. You can't have LeBron hide somewhere, it's going to be hard for him to do this series. So I think a big thing will be, one, LeBron has to play defense on somebody. There's actually, there's scores all over the place for the Heat, and then they do have a lot of bodies to throw at LeBron, and bodies that have been there before. Iguodala is one of the better defenders on LeBron in history. So I think that's that's Iguodala's old. I mean, so is LeBron. At the end of the day, I think it's just a good matchup that I wouldn't be upset about if I got to leave Iguodala on him in a fourth quarter or something like that. Jimmy is a good defender to annoy LeBron. They have bodies to throw at LeBron. Yeah, they have.
He's always played
so
well.
I'm not concerned. If LeBron decides this night, I want to put up 36, 14, and 12, he's probably going to do it. At the end of the day, I don't think, locking down LeBron's going to be an option, but you could certainly make him work. You got to make him tired, so he's taking outside jumpers.
I mean, that's definitely it. To me, one of the things, if you're guarding him, I want to force him left almost every time.
Yeah, force him left and make him shoot free throws. I mean, if LeBron's going to beat you at the line shooting, 10 for 14 free throws, then let it happen. But more than likely, LeBron's historically not a great free throw shooter.
No, but forcing him, I mean, personally, I want to keep him off the line, and forcing him left, when he goes left, it's a much harder time for him to take it to the hole. He's a righty. A lot of righties are more comfortable driving hard right. Especially he gets the ball, anywhere close to the 3-point line to 15 feet, he takes one dribble. He's already at the hoop. So for him, if you could try to force him left a little bit to where he has to start shooting jumpers, I think that'd be a win. Two, I think the rest of the guys have to make sure that Rajon Rondo is not shooting 42% from three.
I mean, if he's going to do 2 series in a row, I would kind of be fine with that.
I mean, you don't want to be. I would live with it. I think that's the option you want to live with, but you want to make sure, the Lakers were getting such open looks against Denver.
No, for sure.
You want to make sure that. I feel like Miami's going to be a better defensive team than Denver is, so I don't have to worry as much.
Well, because they actually have bodies to throw at LeBron, where Denver had nobody to throw at LeBron or AD.
Right. They just got to make sure that they can test those guys when they are getting the open shots, run out, get in their face even a little bit. Now, obviously, we think Bam is going to be the guy that has to bring it to AD on the defensive end if the Heat are going to have any chance, because I've heard a lot of let's start Bam on whatever center the Lakers start, if that's the route that they go. You don't want to get Bam in foul trouble, this and that. You want to keep, Dwight off the offensive glass. And I get all that. I don't think that that's wrong, but I almost feel like LeBron could have 36, 14, and 9 every night as long as AD has 18 points.
No, I agree with you for sure. So, I mean, Okay, let's say they start Dwight and AD. Who are you putting on Dwight?
I mean, honestly, I think that, and it's tough because he hasn't played in a while. But this seems like a series that Myers Leonard could actually play in a little bit.
Sure.
And it's not like Myers Leonard has been terrible in the playoffs. Always he had some big playoff games last year. He's used to playing against people in the West. It's tough again to just jump right into the NBA final. So I probably would start, I guess, Jay Crowder. I guess if you're starting with that small line.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be kind of fine with Jay Crowder or Olynyk, to be honest, because I mean, if they're going to go to a Dwight backing down offense, which they're not,
no,
I'm kind of okay with you're going to live with maybe a Dwight offensive board here and there. That's your worst case scenario, which you don't really want. But on the opposite side, Dwight cannot cover either one of those guys.
No.
So, I think it's a matchup that I'd be fine to live and die with on the defensive side.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of think that that's how Miami's going to start it out. And like you said, I think especially Miami's going to go to that zone.
Yeah.
And I think
I would love if they don't go to it at all tonight.
They might not, but
because the Lakers are going to be, they got to be, I mean, Coach Vogel's got to be sitting there in the practice going crazy on how to break this zone, right?
He has to. And honestly, the fact that the Celtics struggled with the zone is kind of baffling because the Celtics are a team that it's not like they don't have guys that are consistent shooters. Jaylen Brown was shooting it really well. Jason Tatum shoots it really well. Marcus Smart shoots a little bit too much, but he shoots it well. Kemba could be a zone breaker. It's weird that the Celtics struggled. If those guys with, shooters like that were struggling, it's going to be tough for the Lakers.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the only difference with them is AD is huge. So, I mean, AD being a giant person, it's going to be easier to break that zone if that's the plan.
Yeah, well, you're breaking it. So, if you are the Lakers, where are you putting LeBron in the zone? Because AD you're probably putting in the dunker spot behind the back of it.
So
or do you put AD at the free throw line?
I want AD at the free throw line. That's where I'm living. I'm living with AD at the free throw. I'm assuming LeBron's bringing the ball up. AD's at the free throw line, and then you're putting one shooter in the corner next to LeBron. I'm also picturing this on an angle too. I'm not not straight up. So if you're on an angle, I'm picturing a shooter in the corner, LeBron AD in the middle, LeBron on the side with the ball, and the two other shooters on the opposite side of the court. That's what I'm picturing.
Do you think that you go, kind of too big, high, low? You have Dwight at the bottom, kind of running baseline to baseline, depending on where the ball's swinging, AD at the free throw line. And that way, I mean, if that happens and there are misses, how hard it is to rebound in a zone to begin with.
Yeah.
Now you have Dwight and AD. You're going to destroy them on the offensive glass. That could be another way that they break the zone.
It could. I just don't trust Dwight to be smart with that. I think that's too complicated for Dwight. And I don't even mean that to be funny. I just don't think he can handle that properly the way I'd want. I honestly rather have, either Kuzma or Rondo or somebody doing that than him.
Rondo's interesting
because Rondo, he can get a rebound if, depending on what Rondo we have that day.
Rondo is interesting as a passer in the zone because if you want to get creative with it, if you get Rondo in that middle spot too, and you go guard, Rondo with space might be able to pick it apart with his passing.
Yeah.
So they're going to have options. It's all going to be.
Or, I mean, or are we just overthinking it and LeBron's just going to back down to the free throw line and he'll just be the free throw line guy?
Oh, yeah. It's
because they can just do that too. And I'm not too concerned with the zone as much. I mean, I'm willing to be proven wrong on that. I understand the zone will give LeBron problems against the Mavs, but I'm not too concerned about the zone just being the big thing, the big settling point here.
Well, it's gonna be interesting because a lot of teams have struggled with it.
Yeah,
I think
I like the change of pace. It's always been one shtick doesn't always work, so just make him Make him keep having to adjust, whether it's just going zone for a quarter, zone for 10 minutes, something to switch everything up just to give him a different look. I've always loved that approach, as well as, I want to see what AD does. It's all about, to me, the series is obviously all about AD and what he can do. How do we feel about some Jimmy on AD minutes?
I mean, I don't care if Jimmy gets switched onto him.
Yeah.
But I don't want Jimmy guarding him.
Sure.
If Jimmy's going to expend his energy, I think I want him doing it from the point of attack. Because I think out of Iguodala, out of Crowder, out of Jimmy, I think Jimmy's got the most, the best chance at forcing LeBron into tough shots.
Sure.
Iguodala's old. Crowder, I think Jimmy's always been a better defender than Crowder. It's just nice to have all those guys. But if like AD is so tall, he could literally just turn and shoot over Jimmy depending on where he gets the ball.
Yeah.
Now if
Jimmy just can't let him get the ball down low.
That's what it is. If he's on him on the perimeter, like an AD is popping out, like great. Like that's you want that. That's fine.
Unfortunately, I think AD wants that too.
I kind of do too. And it's every time he's like, oh wait, I'm one of the most offensively talented guys down low in the league.
Yeah.
I could just score whenever.
Yeah, I mean, inside the paint, he's Kevin Durant. Like, he's just huge.
he's unstoppable at that point once he gets
right.
It's about getting to that point. But like we said, if Dwight's on the court, it's hard to get both of those guys down low. It jumbles stuff up, and especially with teams like the Heat who are so good defensively, they're going to be able to help recover, force strips and turnovers and all that.
The Lakers have just no choice to do one of these center lineups because they just don't have enough guys.
They don't. I still can't believe that a rotation that has like Alex Caruso and like
KCP has a chance to win the championship.
Yeah, like KCP, I can't even like fathom that this guy is like somebody the Lakers have to rely on, and it might work. Now, on the other hand, the wild card, like Danny Green might hit 33s in this finals.
Yeah, that is something. I mean, it's not going to shock you. It definitely seems like one of those situations that, he just hit 7 threes in the first half. And you're like, God damn it. I knew it.
Like he hasn't hit 1 3 the entire bubbles. And all of a sudden he's not going to miss. Like that's a wild card that I think I would be looking out for the Heat.
No, for sure. I mean, all right, let's flip it to the other side. The Lakers defensive matchups suck. There's just no when Hero comes in, who's on him?
I guess Caruso.
I hate that if I were the Lakers.
I mean, it's probably your best option. Caruso is like a decent enough defender.
I assume Rondo's on Dragic, right?
I would assume, but then it's like maybe you put Caruso. Who do you think is the best guard defender the Lakers have?
Well, I guess I just trust Rondo the most. I mean, I know Caruso isn't a bad defender, but I just trust Rondo more in this circumstance.
I mean, I definitely do too. Rondo has been here numerous times. I don't think Caruso. I wouldn't worry about him on anybody in the first 3 quarters.
No.
Once you get to the 4th quarter and the intensity picks up and it's a lot of experience in being there, that's when I worry about him matched up. But I mean, just outside of that, like you said, we talked about if Dwight's on the floor, Miami's probably going to go have a shooter on there on the court at some point. So how do they guard that? Because, like with Denver, Dwight just got to guard Jokic.
Right.
And I mean, I guess they could have Dwight guard Bam and then you're letting AD guard the perimeter. But, Paul Millsap doesn't move the same way that some
Crowder
smaller guys do on Miami. So that'll be hard for AD if he's got. And then, like, if they go Duncan Robinson, like, who's chasing Duncan Robinson around consistently?
No. Right.
And again, it's like, is KCP doing that? KCP's it's going to be tough for them, and that's going to be interesting.
It's definitely a weird, it's going to be a weird chess matchup. But I don't like it close. If it's close game at the end, I'm really worried for the Heat. The Lakers have, better guys to go get a basket immediately.
Yeah.
So I think that's scary for the Heat. Heat, just going against any LeBron team, you have to stop the transition. LeBron's the best in transition, always has been. So I think those are huge factors as well. Stop the transition. Don't get crushed on the boards. If they're going to go this twin tower lineup, make them pay.
Yeah.
X factors, Tyler Herro. I mean, if Tyler Herro does anything of what he just did, I mean, they're going to build a statue for him in Miami.
Yeah. Tyler Herro, that dude won't be able to walk down the street in Miami if he does that. I think what's good for the Heat playing in the bubble in this final is I don't see any of their guys. One, their guys don't have the personality to be nervous, but on top of that, there's not like an intimidating home crowd game one finals jitters. It should in some way feel like a lot of the other games just because they're playing on the same court they've been playing on for 2 months.
Yeah, and I think, there's definitely always an advantage of being a know-how to how to win finals. And I mean, really on the Lakers, who has, LeBron and Rondo, is that really it? JaVale McGee, I guess, but whatever.
Dwight's been there, but
at the end of the day, the Heat, they don't really have guys who've been there or done that in that type of situation. But a big one for them is Spoelstra. So I think Spoelstra being able to be that guy for them. Hey, I've been here before. Let's do this. I think that's huge.
That is huge, especially from a game-to-game adjustment perspective.
I mean, just coaching matchups, Vogel versus Spoelstra. I mean, the Heat are going to win just the coaching matchups, LeBron versus Spoelstra. They're going to win every match. I think it's every check mark has to go to Spoelstra in that category.
I agree. And I think that, there's no way that Riley isn't sitting at breakfast with Spoelstra going, all right, how do we beat this?
Riley might be on the bench.
he might be.
There's no way Riley's not taking this personal. So no. I love that aspect of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll get a good sense of what this series could be or it's one of these things that we can have an idea where the series is going to be by the end of the first game, or we're going to know nothing, and then game 2 is going to be the complete opposite.
Yeah, agreed. All right, predictions for game 1.
I think the Lakers will win tonight.
I also think the Lakers are going to win tonight. Lakers are currently -4.5 favorites. I think that's accurate.
I think the Lakers have less guys that can just get hot and just put up 20. I think they need the game. I think the stars are going to come out. I think we are going to have a little bit of jitters for a lot of Tyler Herro coming into a game like this. Dragic has never been in a game like this, so just having players like this, they've never been there before. I think it is going to take a minute to get used to it.
I do say Dragic's ready. He's. This
is the most ready I've ever seen Dragic.
He's got all the international experience. He had the Spurs experience. This dude's been in big games before. I'm not worried about him. But yeah, Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, guys like that, especially guys who it's not like they're going to get to the line, get a few easy ones early. They're shooters. No. So it's like they got to heat up and be ready from the go. All right. So what about series prediction?
I think the Heat. I just think it's a combination of I think the Heat. I like the Heat's depth. I want to see the depth beat the star. I always like that storyline better. It gives teams hope that it's usually just it all to matter. 6 guys that matter in the league. So I think it's all about. I want the depth to win. So I'm standing with the Heat. That I just think that they're going to have a guy who's able to step up enough times to help them carry over to win 4 games.
Okay, how many? What do we think in series length?
6 is the classic. Pick going around. I think I'm going to go with that. I agree. LeBron in game 7. I would be terrified of that.
I think my heart says Heat. My head says Lakers.
You did factor in that Jimmy Butler played for the Bulls before, right?
I did. And partly
Rondo. You're in for Rondo. I got you.
Jimmy Butler has had a ton of really hard-fought battles with LeBron. And LeBron has been great. He's dialed in, all that. He was better in Cleveland. I was more scared of him in Cleveland. I'm more scared of him in Miami. Jimmy Butler has brought a LeBron-led team to at least 6 games with, in my opinion, what's probably worse overall talent in Chicago. Now, if you want to argue that at the time LeBron didn't have a guy like AD, you're right. So, my heart says Miami, but my head says Lakers. And I think pre-game 1, I'm going to take Lakers in 6, which makes me sad because I just want Jimmy to get that ring so badly. So it seems like you're probably going to have 2 choices if the Heat do win for Finals MVP. Who is your Finals MVP prediction?
In my opinion, if the Heat win, it's probably going to be Iguodala. I don't know why you're laughing. He's already done this before.
I just can't see him playing the minutes.
He's good, but he barely played the minutes in Golden State that year. Yeah, he's coming off the bench.
It's way different. I'm gonna say, if the Heat win, it's got to be Jimmy or Bam.
There's no I guess Jimmy or Bam, yeah, but I agree. But if Iguodala just plays incredible defense on LeBron and puts up, 15 to 17 points, it's the game right there.
Look, if he puts up 15 to 17 points, there's no way the Lakers win.
I agree.
At that point, I think it's Heat in 5.
I agree.
I think it has to be LeBron if the Lakers win. I can't see a scenario where LeBron struggles and AD is like, you know what? Hop on the back. I got this. I just can't see it.
It's going to be rough.
It's going to be the other way around. I think LeBron is not ready to be like, you know what? I'll take a back seat. He's not doing Dwayne Wade's Wade did.
If the Lakers lose this series, no one's going to be like, wow, what does this do for AD's legacy? No one gives a shit. It's all about, well, Jordan was better. We told you. That's what it all is going to go immediately into this. So, it's not about LeBron knows this. LeBron ain't dumb. So, at the end of the day, he's not willing to give that up because it can't be like, well, AD lost that series for LeBron. No, it's just going to be LeBron lost the series, another one again.
Yep. Agreed. So, all right, those are our predictions. We're going to see how we do with that overall. Tonight's game should be awesome. Hopefully.
What time do we have another 9:00 game? What time is it?
It is 9:00, which is
God damn it.
I can't understand make it 8.
8:30 would be way better.
8:30. That's an insane thing that the NBA did. Whatever. At least it's not 10.
I guess.
At least it's not 10. All right. We'll see you tomorrow for recap game 1 and talk about the series going forward after we see it. Until then, peace.